Well, hello and welcome. My name is Professor Claire Mackin and I'm Associate Deputy Vice-Chancellor Learning and Teaching in the College of Business and Law here at RMIT University. And today we're going to tell you a bit about the Bachelor of Business programs at RMIT. The Bachelor of Business program includes 15 business majors and a range of minors to choose from and lots of other wonderful features. And this new program is world innovative and allows students to learn across a variety of business disciplines to replicate the real world experience needed for your future careers. Next slide, please. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge the people of the Woiwurrung and Burrung language groups of the Eastern Kulin Nations, on whose unceded lands we conduct the business of the university. And RMIT respectfully acknowledges their ancestors and elders past, present and emerging. And while we conduct our work remotely, I would like to also pay my respects to the wider unceded lands of this nation. Next slide, thanks. And in terms of our commitment to reconciliation, RMIT is committed to redefining its relationship in working with and supporting Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders' self-determination. The university's goal is to achieve lasting transformation by maturing its values, culture, policy and structures in a way that embeds reconciliation in everything that we do. In line with the principles of Bunjil, we are changing our ways of knowing, working and being to support sustainable reconciliation and to activate a relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous staff, students and community. And it is my great pleasure today to introduce you to my colleague, Associate Professor Jonathan Boimel, Bachelor of Business Program Director and Head of Teaching and Learning at RMIT University in the College of Business and Law, who will tell you more about these exciting programs. And welcome, Jonathan.
Thanks, Claire, and welcome everyone. It's wonderful to join you all today to talk about the Bachelor of Business and the Bachelor of Business Professional Practice. RMIT recognises its priority is to ensure our graduates are equipped with the skills, the capabilities, the networks that are transferable to emerging worlds of work. Graduates need to be ready for their professional futures, whatever that looks like. Following an extensive review of our programs, together with student demand for increased study flexibility and compatibility with existing and upcoming career opportunities, we are delighted to announce the launch of our new Bachelor of Business suite in the College of Business and Law. This forward-looking approach to education ensures that graduates will be ready for their professional future, whatever that looks like and whatever path they choose. We'll now have a short video presentation that will touch on some key features of the new program suite. And after that, I'll come back and discuss some of the highlighted features in more detail. So next slide, please.
In this new era of business, an age of globalisation, automation and digital commerce, change is the only constant. Our world's growing, shifting and evolving at lightning pace, and our careers are evolving with it. So how do you prepare for the roles of tomorrow, for jobs that may not even exist yet? At RMIT, we believe education is key, and our aim is to help you develop the skills that industry requires now and into the future. That's why we've developed our new Bachelor of Business. At most universities, students need to choose a major or specialisation before they've even started their degree. But at RMIT, we do things differently. We want you to develop your own personalised course of study, to have greater freedom to study what you choose and the flexibility to discover what you love. We want you to be the architect of your own educational experience. Our students can choose any one or two of our 15 majors and complement this with a choice of 35 minors. So you're free to explore a myriad of different courses, to think creatively, to map out new territory and rewrite the rules. You can combine specialisations like blockchain-enabled business or accounting with studies in creative and social disciplines like behavioural science or entrepreneurship. You can choose not to do a major at all and select across our entire range of business and cross-college offerings. You can change your mind and explore new subjects as your interests or goals shift over time. You'll develop a digital portfolio to build your confidence as an emerging professional and show off your achievements to potential employers. You'll work with industry, government and the community on projects, playing a critical part in solving real-world problems. And with no more traditional lectures or exams, you'll find out more about who you are and what's meaningful to you. In this self-curated program, your peers aren't there because they have to be. They're enrolled in subjects because they're curious, passionate and engaged. It makes RMIT an extraordinary place to learn. So find out what's next in business at RMIT.
What a fantastic video. I want to call out some of these features from the video. So what do you need to know about doing business at RMIT? Firstly, flexibility and choice. We've revamped our Bachelor of Business suite of programs and designed a flexible degree so that students have greater choice over their learning journey. We're offering 15 majors, including a couple of new majors and 35 minors, and we'll have a slide coming up in a few minutes with those details. Sometimes students feel that everyone in their year level has figured out what they want to study. But in the new Bachelor of Business, it's totally okay if you're not sure whether you're destined to become a financial advisor, a marketing professional, or an entrepreneur yet. The degree evolves with you, and you've got full flexibility to decide what's right for you at the time that's right for you. All students are exposed to different hands-on experiences, and they can adjust their degree along the way to pursue areas of study that speak to them, the ability to try new things or continue with their specialisation. Next, industry partnerships and experience. With more active learning and no traditional lectures, students can discover more about who they are and what is meaningful to them. In terms of assessment, a big focus is on assessment for learning, not just assessment of learning. So we've moved away from exams, except where required for accreditation purposes. And an integral part of the learning experience is interacting with organisations. Program and course level partnerships have been developed with leading global organisations, including Adobe, Amazon Web Services, Australian Red Cross and Medibank. We've had industry involved in the design and development of all our courses, ensuring that our courses address the evolving nature of the challenges that are facing business. Students will have an opportunity to apply their learning in real-world contexts by tackling real-world business problems and developing industry-relevant experiences. And the final feature is employability and lifelong learning. So a significant focus of this degree is the development of transferable skills, those personal and professional capabilities that are absolutely vitally important, that are valued in the workplace and that will set graduates up as lifelong learners, preparing them for changing business careers. These skills and capabilities have the potential to unlock a huge number of jobs across many fields. They include critical and creative thinking, mental flexibility, collaboration, working effectively in teams, self-awareness, coping with uncertainty, digital collaboration, data analysis and visualization, digital ethics, as well as global awareness and a commitment to social impact. All students will have access to a digital portfolio to build self-awareness, to reflect on the world of work and where they fit in. It'll enable them to provide evidence of learning, to demonstrate knowledge, skills, capabilities, and professional accomplishments to prospective employers. We'll support students to build a narrative that can be applied to the work environment and demonstrate to employers how those skills might apply in very different contexts from where they were originally learned. We'll be supporting students to do this in their capstone course. Next slide, please. Students can choose from a 3-year Bachelor of Business or a 4-year Bachelor of Business Professional Practice program that offers additional professional experiences and internship opportunities. We have 4 business foundation courses. They include Global Business Ecosystems, Business Decision Making, Integrated Business Perspectives, and Business and Society. Next slide, please. Here we have a visual representation of the program structure. So in the first year, students will be taking 4 business foundation courses and 4 other courses. They then have the opportunity to take up to 2 majors, or if they wish, no majors at all, and curate their own learning program. And finally, they will be undertaking a capstone course, which focuses on the digital portfolio. Next slide, please. The Bachelor of Business Professional Practice is a 4-year program. It offers all of the experiences of the 3-year Bachelor of Business program, but includes an additional year that offers a flexible approach to professional and personal development. As part of the 4-year professional practice program, students will complete a study and work minor, including a virtual internship that will increase their professional preparedness. Students will have the opportunity to undertake professional practice in a variety of forms, including multiple industry internships, additional year working for themselves, undertaking a research project, or even studying overseas. Next slide, please. Here we have a visual representation of the program structure. Again, as with the Bachelor of Business program, students will be completing the 4 business foundation courses, these cross-disciplinary courses. They'll then be undertaking 3 additional core courses to enhance their professional preparedness, and then they can go on and undertake majors or minors as they see fit. And then finally, in their 4th year, they'll undertake the professional practice year. Next slide, please. We know that many mature occupations have been transformed by data and technology and a focus on sustainability. And we've seen an increased prevalence of hybrid occupations involving multiple skill sets. These occupations can be pursued with the curated courses, the majors, the minors that are available throughout the Bachelor of Business. We've added majors in blockchain-enabled business, social impact, business and technology, innovation and enterprise, as well as their evergreen majors in finance, accountancy, marketing, and so on. If you look at the social impact major, this is actually a first of its kind in Australia. And by taking it alongside a more traditional major, you'll be provided with skills, tools, and mindsets to transform any career into a socially impactful one. Next slide, please. We've also added minors in business analytics, cybersecurity, data insights, digital supply chain, behavioural science, and managing global teams to prepare our students for these hybrid occupations. Next slide, please. In terms of career destinations, there are 3 main categories of occupations that can be pursued with the curated majors and minors in the program. First, we have those traditional evergreen professions, such as accountancy, finance, management. Next, we have hybrid professions, those jobs that combine multiple skill sets. So we know that there are occupations that are being transformed by data analytics, technology, including artificial intelligence, partnerships, platforms, a focus on human-centered design, creativity, sustainability, and responsible business. By combining different majors and minors, students will be able to tailor a program of study to create a unique career path by having these cutting-edge skills. And finally, emerging occupations. These are job titles that we haven't seen yet as a result of disruptions and macro trends. You might be creating new job titles in the future as you pursue your interests and passions. And this is what RMIT's new Bachelor of Business empowers graduates to do. Next slide, please. As a new program, we don't have a clearly in ATAR from last year. However, this year RMIT is for the first time giving guaranteed offers. So for our new Bachelor of Business programs, you will receive a guaranteed offer with an ATAR of 70 or over for our Bachelor of Business and an 80 and over for our Bachelor of Business Professional Practice. And you'll see on the screen that we also have prerequisite English scores for both of our programs. In addition, we also have pathways into our programs following the completion of a diploma or an associate diploma, and we'll cover this in a little more detail on the following slide. If you have any specific admissions queries, please post them in the Q&A, where our team of admission experts are on hand to answer any of your queries. Next slide, please. As mentioned on the previous slide, we offer guaranteed pathways into our Bachelor of Business from a number of our vocational education programs, which is a great option if you just miss out on an offer. All of these pathways guarantee entry into our programs and still give you the opportunity to complete the Bachelor of Business within 3 years. Next slide, please. New this year is our early offer program. This is a great scheme which allows you to secure an offer into one of our Bachelor of Business programs by the end of September. You'll be able to secure your place early, allowing you to be accepted on a lower ATAR than our guaranteed ATAR by taking some of the pressure off your final year at high school. This is based on transferable skills and other life or personal experiences outside of the classroom. The deadline is the 5th of September, and it is a competitive process. So if you are interested in receiving an early offer, please visit the early offer portal on our website. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Simon Thornton, Director of the Bachelor of Business Professional Practice Program, to discuss some of the ways we connect with industry. Simon.
Thank you, Jonathan. Great to be with you here this afternoon. As the slide shows there are a number of ways in which students can interact with our industry partners and through our various different industry connections. I want to focus on a few of these points. Firstly, the top one, and that is that they're now available throughout the whole period of study. The latest research has shown that students that leave with a minimum of 2 or 3 industry experiences as part of their programs have a far greater confidence and far greater skill level of competency as well in their chosen disciplines. If students are undertaking an experience, it could be anything from a fairly light touch within an in-class project, industry guest speakers, challenges, etc., leading through assessment-based live challenges, all the way up to a direct industry engagement with one of our industry partners. If in the direct industry engagement that this takes the form of an internship, that internship could be anything between a few weeks to a whole semester or even longer. So it's really important to understand that the options that we have available are really flexible. In terms of locations, they could be here in Vic Metro, just around the corner. They could be across the Victorian region. They could be interstate. They could even be overseas. Now, the last two seem a long way off right now, given the fact that we're all in lockdown. But we're talking about opportunities that could come up in the next 2, 3, 4, or even beyond years. So it's highly possible that students could be finding the right kind of industry placement for them or industry experience for them anywhere in the world. With that in mind, can we move to the next slide, please? With that in mind, I'd like to introduce and play a very short video clip of an interview I conducted with one of our recent business alumni, Sam Quirk. Sam is a very impressive young man, and the full video lasts for about eight minutes. But what we wanted to do today was just give you a little bit of a taster of Sam's responses. And he's really offering his insights and his experience and his advice to future students, as he was able to intern in both Germany with Adidas and also in France with Solomon as part of his 4-year program. Are we able to play the video, please? Thank you.
My internships in Germany and France were probably the highlight of my time studying at RMIT. It was great to really develop a skill set in project management at my first internship, and then be able to really dive into customer experience in my second internship. So those skill sets have been really helpful in the current role I'm in now. Going into job interviews, having done internships or having previous professional work experiences really give you something to talk to in your interviews. Your business degrees are really well rounded, and if given the opportunity to tie that in with an intersection that you're really interested in, then that's a really great opportunity to take. Another thing I'd say is just to take all opportunities that present yourself, whether that be with sport clubs, whether that be with student associations or other extracurricular activities. It's a great way to meet new people. It's a great way to build skill sets outside of your studies. And again, it's really good for your employability. And a lot of what I had done through my extracurricular things at uni helped me to get my internships in the first place when I was, having to compete against hundreds of people for these internship positions. That's the advice I'd give if you're thinking about studying business at RMIT.
Thank you. As I say, there's a wider, a longer video conversation to have with Sam there. He really did enjoy his university life and has some great advice and information for students that are thinking about undertaking any degree, but in particular the professional practice degree going forward. Now, I've mentioned a lot about industry partners already, and as you can see on the screen there, we have a number of great partners that we work with in a range of different ways, but I'm particularly delighted to introduce two industry partners from one of our key partners now, Adobe. We've got Michael Stoddard, who's the Director of Strategic Business Development, and we've got Sasha McQuaid, a Senior Account Executive. Good afternoon, Sasha. Good afternoon, Michael.
Good afternoon, Simon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much for joining us. Great to have you with us. Sasha, I think I've got going to throw the first question to you, if that's all right. For our audience watching today, could you just briefly introduce Adobe if they're not familiar with your company, and also, what's been your level of involvement or activity with RMIT and its students so far? Over to you,
Sure.
Sasha.
Thanks, Simon. For those of you who don't know Adobe is a global technology company. We're here today representing the Adobe ANZ team. Our vision statement is changing the world through digital experiences, and every great experience starts with creativity. We've had a partnership with RMIT for many years, so we're both a supplier and an industry partner, and we're a large global employer looking at interns and grads, so we're connected in a number of different ways. It's been our great pleasure to partner on the development of this new Bachelor of Business degree, and we also support students through involving them in the real world business challenges that have been spoken to. And we run workshops on how to use our tools in their studies, and we also engage with academics. Over the last few years, we've really seen an increase in the use of our platform in more and more curriculum areas. And now RMIT invests in the provision of Creative Cloud for all students, regardless of area of study or location of that student. So RMIT is always looking at ways to innovate curriculum and ensure that your students have those in-demand skills, and we're always here ready and willing to partner.
Wow, thank you, Sasha. That's great. I mean, I think that's the definition of a true partnership, where we've got, obviously, as a global, renowned technology brand like yourself, obviously working with our students, helping our students, training our students, making the software available to our students so they can do, students no longer just do written essays, they do video vlogs, they do infographics, they do videos, they do all kinds of digital applications can be used for their assessment work. So that's great, and like I said, a true partnership. Thank you. Second question, which I think is also to you, Sasha. You mentioned there you're a global employer, and that's obviously a major international brand. What are the kind of qualities that you're looking for in the undergraduates that are going to be coming through the educational system like RMIT in future years?
Sure, a couple of these have already been spoken to. Communication, creativity and digital skills are super important, and these can be assessed somewhat in the recruitment process. Students having that digital portfolio to present themselves to employers can only help those students stand out from the crowd in a really competitive marketplace. It's important when students are going through a recruitment process to do their research about an organisation to make sure that they can talk to who that company is and why they're interested in working for them. We are looking for graduates who are keen to learn, keen to be team members, and really show that eagerness. And I believe that you've spoken about the digital portfolio aspect in the new Bachelor of Business degree.
Thanks, Sasha. Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think the great thing about the new degree structures that we're putting in place is it makes it even more flexible for students, and it makes it easier for them to work with and recognise the work they do with partners like yourself, but also then set themselves up to position themselves to approach employers in the future in that way. Michael, if I can throw the last question to you, if I may, and thank you for joining us.
Of course.
Why is Adobe keen to be involved in this deeper way with RMIT and in particular the Bachelor of Business students?
Yeah, that's a good question. Our education mission is, as you heard, to inspire and empower the next generation of business creative thinkers. And in Sam Quirk's video, you heard him mention customer experience. He was working with customer experience. So RMIT also inspires and empowers students. So together, we're looking to build this platform around digital literacy, digital creativity, and digital experience. And to support this future that we're talking about of hybrid professions, where every profession, but particularly in business, need to be able to express very sophisticated concepts in a way that resonates with that audience, that thinking differently, thinking creatively, and not just creating content, as you mentioned, as you heard in the opening video. Thinking creatively is very much in demand today, and it's increasing exponentially, especially in business learning. So to answer your question, we're keen to be involved in this deeper way because RMIT is a strategic partner, and we're always looking to work with partners such as RMIT who have this longer term strategy, where we can also learn from RMIT how our tools can help change learning. And it's great to see some of the amazing ways that students communicate their stories with our tool set as they undergo their RMIT undergraduate studies. It's been a terrific relationship.
Well, thank you, Michael, and also thank you, Sasha. I think that's a great response. I feel like I could talk to you all day, but obviously we've only got a fairly short time, and we do want to move on to some questions. But thank you very much. I think your answer there about the hybrid profession and the fact that we're not asking students to make choices right at the start, that they can work it out a little bit as they go along. They can work it out when they meet industry partners like yourselves that maybe open their eyes into different areas and angles. And obviously we look forward to working with you in the future. So thank you very much for joining us. And I'm going to hand over to Claire now for a general question and answer session. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Simon, and thanks, Michael and Sasha as well. It's great to have you here from Adobe today. So we're now going to some questions and answers, so the ones that you've posted in the chat, and I'm going to go first to Jonathan. I've got two questions for you to start off with. Jonathan, there are no lectures, you said. Can you tell us more about that? Thanks.
Sure, great question. Thanks, Claire. We've moved away from large-scale lectures and we're taking a blended learning approach. What I mean by that is that we're offering both face-to-face learning as well as online learning. Whenever we undertake face-to-face learning in the Bachelor of Business, it's experiential, it's interactive learning in small groups. And that's very different from the large-scale lectures where it's simply, stand and deliver and transmission of information. But with online resources, this offers the learner convenience, flexibility, so they have more of an ability to control their learning journey during the semester. And research suggests that blended learning, right, having a mix of both small-scale, face-to-face interactive learning, as well as online content, gives learners a more comprehensive understanding of course content and a greater ability to apply skills that they have learned outside of the classroom.
Thanks, Jonathan. And while you're talking, what about exams? So no exams either, is that right?
So we've moved away from exams, except where they're required for accreditation purposes, and that's primarily in the accounting area. In the Bachelor of Business, an integral part of the learning experience is interacting with organisations, and that is with industry, with government and with community through relevant projects and challenges. So students will be undertaking their learning in context. So they'll be applying their learning in a real world context, working on industry-based problems, and importantly, producing impactful and relevant outcomes that you don't get if you're in a setting where someone is just trying to help you prepare to sit for an exam.
Thank you so much. And what about, you mentioned flexibility, so being able to choose what you want to do, that sounds really good, but what happens if you need some sort of direction or guidance in what to choose?
Yeah, great question. So there are a few ways that we support students in this regard. Firstly, the majors that we have to offer have been curated by researchers and industry experts. So students aren't going to be required to select all of the courses that make up a major. The academic experts, the industry experts have had a hand in co-designing the mix of courses that go into each major. We're also going to have a platform that will support students to identify complementary majors and minors for impactful career outcomes. So students may go in thinking, well, I'm interested in marketing. Well, that's 8 courses out of 24. Not sure what else to do besides my foundation courses. So there'll be an opportunity for students, once they have a sense of what their specialisation is going to be, to identify those other complementary skill sets that are important for career success. I guess the other point here in terms of support is that the first 4 foundation courses that students undertake, there is a capstone at the end, but in the first year when students are undertaking their business foundation courses, this will provide them with an insight into how the different majors might fit into the different functional areas of an organisation. So students, if they're curious, they'll be able to pick up on the different functional areas in organisations across those 4 foundation courses, and that will give them some insight into areas that they may want to specialise in.
Thanks, Jonathan. I'm going to head across to Simon now for some questions. So, Simon, what is the difference between the 3-year Bachelor of Business degree and the 4-year Bachelor of Business Professional Practice degree we've talked about today?
Thank you, Claire. Yeah, well, obviously, aside from the additional extra year that you will spend in study, the 3-year degree fits in within the 4-year degree, so that all of the parts that Jonathan's explained earlier still apply, and all the flexibility and all the major choices and all the minor choices. But it's really for a student that's looking to, I suppose, improve their professional currency once they've graduated. So as Michael and Sasha said earlier, in terms of the qualities of the kind of graduates that they're looking for, and the ways in which they want to develop, if you like, sort of hybrid careers of the future, it's really giving the student the maximum opportunity to be able to do that. I think in the past, universities have been guilty with a sort of a disconnect between study, which has largely been subject based, and then, if you like, sort of the work experience or the industry experience element. So across this 4 years, students have a wonderful introductory, which is a nice, if you like, sort of early introductory to meeting industry partners. We have a virtual internship that starts within the first 2 years, where students spend a few weeks on an industry challenge in a kind of virtual online context as an introduction. They study courses as part of their compulsory minor in things like developing professionally. There's one on sort of health, safety and well-being. So we're trying to position our future graduates to have a really good rounding knowledge of the kind of skills and qualities and capabilities they need, and then they can go and find those in the right kind of industry context for them. There's a wonderful bit of magic that happens at some point in an undergraduate, if you like, sort of pathway for a young person, and that is when it kind of clicks for them. And often these are the bits that we can't teach. We can't teach, for example, in a campus setting, what it feels like for one of our young undergraduates to feel valued in an organisation, to feel that they can make a contribution, to feel that they know once they've finished university that they have an idea of what they might go on and do. We can't teach that in a kind of a classroom-based format, but we can help them to find situations to be able to do it. So I think that's the difference. Opportunities exist to both students across the Bachelor of Business 3-year, but the wider 4-year is a little bit more of a deeper immersion into that, if you like, future professional life. Thanks, Claire.
Thanks, Simon. I'm going to stay with you actually for the next question from the Q&A, which is, what are the job prospects like from these sorts of degrees?
Yeah, what a great question. Look, statistically, and this is Australian based as well. Statistically, students that do a deep and immersed internship are 40% more likely to find employment either directly related to that internship or close to it, or because of that internship after they graduate. So I think you're really giving your future employment prospects a real sort of shot in the arm if you can undertake a number of, if you like, what we call episodes or experiences of industry engagement. They don't just have to be in one area. Again, as Jonathan said earlier, you can change your mind. It's quite all right. You can decide to do different things as you go through. So job prospects in general, very good. And again, the more you can show employers like Michael, like Sasha, that you already have the kind of capabilities and skills they're looking for because you've done it as part of an internship, then the more likely you are to be hired in the future. Thanks, Claire.
Thank you so much. And I've got a question now for Jonathan, and it's generally around the majors and minors. There's a couple of questions around this. I thought we could bring them all together. So sort of a question is, this is a course to get into for social media or marketing, management or brand management. So maybe you could talk about just how students can make choices about the disciplines that they can study in the majors and minors in the Bachelor of Business. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thanks, Claire. I think a really distinctive feature of this program is that students don't need to make a choice on what areas to specialise in before they commence their program. So there are opportunities in the foundation courses where students will be exposed to all the different functional areas of an organisation, including the marketing function, that you referred to before. So students have an opportunity then to pick up that specialisation, and if they are interested in a marketing specialisation, within the marketing specialisation there are options. Okay, so if a student is interested in brand management and is interested in heading that way career-wise, then the students can actually choose to undertake that option within the marketing major. So an important point is that there'll be very few students who are undertaking the same program, okay, the same courses, because even if you choose a particular major, in many cases, you'll be able to select electives or options from within that major to give you a particular career direction.
Thanks, Jonathan. And I'd love you to describe, sort of linked to the question around job prospects and the discussion of Simon. Can you tell us what a digital portfolio is in the Bachelor of Business?
Yeah, great question. Thanks, Claire. So a digital portfolio is a collection of student-generated artifacts or assessments that encourage students to participate in reflective learning, to map their development, their growth, their transformation, their progress, both as emerging professionals as well as their own personal progress. Once students have acquired skills, it's very important for them to be able to build a narrative that can be taken outside of the classroom and moved into the work environment. Students are often very adept at sharing with potential employers the courses that they've taken or perhaps the internships that they've completed, but they're not great all the time at identifying the skills that they've actually learned. So it's more important than ever for students to be able to demonstrate to employers how the skills that they've learned in the classroom might apply outside university. And that's the purpose of the digital portfolio. So we're supporting students to actually pitch themselves to different audiences using the skills that they've developed, but applying them in various work contexts.
Thanks so much, Jonathan. I'm actually going to put you in the hot seat for a bit longer if you don't mind. So there's a couple of questions in here as well. Why would I do this degree? Why wouldn't I do just one of the existing current bracketed discipline-specific degrees that RMIT offers? So Bachelor of Business, bracket marketing, and so on. So maybe you could explain why you would do the Bachelor of Business instead of one of the current degrees that we have.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a very good question. I mean, one answer I would give to that is greater flexibility. So if you select one of our existing degrees, in terms of our bracketed degrees, you'll be taking 8 foundation, or what we refer to as common core courses. With our new Bachelor of Business suite of programs, you're only undertaking 4 foundation courses as well as a capstone course. And I guess the advantages of that is twofold. Number one, you've got more options then. You've got greater choice in your Bachelor of Business program because you don't have as many compulsory courses that you need to take. And the second is that we've captured the content that you might find in your sort of traditional common core courses, marketing, finance, accounting, but placed them in more of a work relevant context, right? Identifying the different business functions within an organization and how they fit together. And if you approach it that way, if you approach the sort of business foundations that way, you will be better prepared to work as part of a cross-functional team when you graduate. So yeah, more choice, and business foundations presented in a way that's probably more relevant to the current and emerging worlds of work.
Thanks, Jonathan. I'm going to head to Simon now for our last question for Simon, and it's from the Q&A. So why should I choose RMIT's Bachelor of Business over another highly recognised university's Bachelor of Business? What are its best features is my add-on.
Thank you, Claire. Look, there are a number. The first thing I would say is, look, RMIT has always had a long-standing reputation for its industry engagement. You know, sort of. I think a lot of people understand and appreciate that. But the key thing here is that we're not sitting back and we're not trying to live on dine out on that sort of old, if you like, reputation. We're enhancing, we're developing. We're making our degree program structures even more flexible, as Jonathan has explained. So those industry engagement episodes can happen at any time, and we expect them and want them to be multiple in nature. The second thing I would say is it's the depth and the breadth of what we can offer. So, you know, as Jonathan explained in the format, you can come and choose a double major. You can choose not to do any majors at all. You can work it out as you go along. We don't expect you to have all the answers right now, but tying all that together, especially in regards to the professional practice program, is you have this sort of like, you know, key links into industry all the way through. We'll step you in gently, but then we'll help you develop your own pathway. And it may well be that when you get to your final professional practice year, you're not working for a company, you're actually running your own business. You're working with our incubator, our MIT activator, you're having a go at your own startup. It can be as flexible as that. And I think it really is industry engagement and the depth and breadth of the kind of study that we can offer. That's my final response. Thank you, Claire.
Thanks, Simon. And Jonathan, over to you for the last question, which is the same one. And from your perspective, why would you choose the Bachelor of Business over another university? And what do you think are the best features of this degree?
Thanks, Claire. I need a bit more time than a few minutes, but you know, if I had to call out the distinguishing features of this program, I'd really want to focus on flexibility and choice in terms of the range of majors, the range of minors, as well as the ability for students to craft their own path at a time that actually suits them. Industry experience, the focus on active learning as opposed to passively sitting in a lecture theatre, as a way of finding out what is meaningful to students, what they're interested in. what gives them purpose, and also the focus on transferable skills, those personal and professional capabilities that are valued in the workplace and that will really set our graduates up as lifelong learners that are prepared for changing business careers.
Excellent. Thank you, Jonathan, and thank you, Simon, today for answering the questions. And that's the end of our session today. So thank you for coming along and taking the time to learn about our new programs, the Bachelor of Business and Bachelor of Business Professional Practice. Don't forget that for discipline-specific questions and around the discipline sessions that comprise the Bachelor of Business, you can hear all about it in the different areas of the Open Day platform. So learn about the majors and minors. And if you have further questions, please visit our Open Day live chat and check out the program information available on our website. So thanks for joining us this morning and have a lovely rest of the day. See you later. Bye.